evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. We're on the way to 12,700 subscribers. And of course, if you could click the like button, I'd be incredibly grateful. Let's get to 100 likes as rapidly as we can. That's all we're going to do. Get to 100 likes as quickly as we can. Fair bit to talk about today. We're talking about White and Timber and the fact that, are they going to be available for the Southampton game? If they're not, what do we do? Tomiyasu as well. Is he available? Is he being hidden? Is he being hidden, as someone in the chat was mentioning? Ethan Nwaneri, does he start at the weekend? What should we go for against Southampton? We'll have more of a preview of that game tomorrow. I'll kind of want to talk about the Champions League and where we're at with the Champions League. Last night, unbelievable evening of Champions League football. And if you look at the league table now in the Champions League, I think we're beginning to see that it could get exciting towards the end of this kind of league phase with some of the big teams dropping points. There's loads of you here, which we absolutely love to see. Pekka, Godson, Woodsy, AJ Envoy, Icarus, Jakub, Vivi, Vlad, Ethan Udal, Saliba, Oslo Guna, Fizzy, Emily, Hannah, Daryl, Mako, Paul, John. For me, Tom kind of cooked himself talking about the atmosphere is okay, yet later in the video, he talks about fans not getting a beer before the game or coming directly from work. It's interesting. There's a few of you talking about Tom in the chat. And look, first of all, I've got to say, I have absolutely no issue with Tom. We're absolutely friendly with each other. And I actually only just listened to the kind of segment of his show that he talked about my tweets. And look, for me, most of what he said is fair. It's his opinion, right? So that's completely fair. B, I agree with what he says about tourist fans not being the problem. I don't think tourist fans are the problem either. And I think people do use that as a bit of a cop-out because it's easier to blame tourist fans at times than it is to blame some of our own fans. I also want to say, 95% of our fans are brilliant. And maybe my tweet about the atmosphere on Tuesday night, it was a bit blunt, right? I could have worded it a bit more softly, saying it was borderline unacceptable was maybe a bit far. But that being said, I did also feel like some of what Tom said was maybe, look, he sat in the press box, right? Maybe he can't say necessarily things that I can say because, the right people have to be kept happy. But for me, he says I sat in the upper tier. He's correct. I sat in the upper tier. If you follow me, you'll know because I get tickets off the ticket exchange, I sit everywhere. I sit upper tier, lower tier, North Bank clock end, West Stand, East Stand, everywhere you can think of, right? Even club level. And club level, the atmosphere is dross. But you can tell when it's a good atmosphere and when it's a bad atmosphere, no matter where you are in the ground. Yes, if you're North Bank, lower tier, it's always going to be a good atmosphere. But when you're upper tier, sometimes games will have a great atmosphere in the upper tier still. Sometimes they won't. And that, for me, was how I felt it was on Tuesday. And it wasn't even just the noise. It was also the fact that at 80 minutes, I'm looking around, we're 2-0 up. We need to hold on to that 2-0 lead. I'm seeing people leave as if we're 3-0 down. And I get it's a weekday night. People want to skip the traffic. People want to skip the queue for the tube. It's raining. People don't want to be stood queuing for the tube in the rain. I get it. But equally, I don't particularly like it. For me, I think we can do better as a general fan base. Now, there's a number of reasons for that. One of the things that he said was, well, there were tickets available right up until the game started or up until a few hours before the game started. So anyone could get a ticket. So real fans could get tickets. My main issue was the pricing of that game. And this is the point. And when it comes to the tourists, which again, I have no issue with tourist fans whatsoever. But when you're putting tickets up in the upper tier, like a standard upper tier seat for 140 quid for that game, you're pricing real fans out of it. So as much as, there would have been plenty of real fans sat on the ticket exchange going, I can't afford to spend 140 quid on a ticket. If you're in London for a week on a trip, you probably can, right? In the same way that when you go abroad, you'll spend money that you wouldn't spend at home. So there were issues with the atmosphere. He mentioned the fact that the stadium announcer at halftime put more effort than he ever has done before into trying to G up the crowd. And Tom kind of used that as a positive. For me, that proved the point, right? The stadium announcer doesn't normally have to use the halftime interval to try and G up the crowd, especially not at 2-0 on a Champions League night. So look, they were my points, and some of you have been criticising what Tom said, and I respect your opinions as well. I respect his opinion. But for me, what do you mean real fans? Real fans that's a bad term. That's my bad. Not real fans. Whatever you would describe as the opposite of tourist fans, right? So local. I don't know whatever the word you would use for local fans that aren't tourists, but that also can't afford to spend 140 quid on a ticket. Henri saying Arsenal should never have sacked Unai. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll briefly talk about it. Grassroots fans. Yeah, you could call it grassroots fans. But no, look, that's what it is for me. And to be honest, I think in what Tom said, it was kind of an acknowledgement of the fact that the atmosphere wasn't that good. There are different reasons for it, whatever. Yes, and when I say the club can do better, I am talking about pricing. I also think the season ticket system is problematic at the moment because there is a small proportion of season ticket holders who just aren't interested, but they keep their season tickets and they put them on the exchange. Realistically, the reason so many tickets went on the exchange is because there's a lot of people who have got a season ticket, saw a Category A game that they didn't want to go to, and thought, well, that's a good opportunity for me to get some money back. And I don't think that's the sort of season ticket holder you want. I think you want season ticket holders that by and large are going to turn up week in, week out to every game because that's how you cultivate the sort of atmosphere that our away fans take. So there are things that they can do. And, okay, the club, it's all well and good saying the club give half-price beers for you to turn up an hour early. Mate, saving £3.50 on a beer when you've just had to spend 140 quid on the ticket is not ideal. So, and look, it's not just us either, by the way. It's not just us. This isn't an Arsenal thing. This is a Premier League thing. It's a Premier League big club thing. And you look at the atmosphere at Aston Villa last night, by the way. If Aston Villa are in the Champions League again next season, the atmosphere won't be like that. In the same way that it wasn't like, our atmosphere in the Champions League was amazing last season because it's first time back. Then you get used to it. Expectations increase. That's just the way it is. Dominic Sobos, whatever your name is. Thank you very, very much for being a member for 5 months. That is sensational support, Dominic. Thank you very much. Do you think Arsenal will win the league? I think we've got... I think if we get through game week 14, if we get through the 14th game week of the Premier League and we're still in the title race, I think we're favourites. That's what it is for me. By that point, by the time we get to the 14th game, we will have played all of the big six once. We'll have played Spurs, Chelsea, and Man City away. And we'll have played Villa and Newcastle away, which are the 2 hardest away trips outside of the big six. So we'll have, at that point, we'd still have 24 games remaining. We'd only have to go away to Anfield and Old Trafford. And then we've obviously got home ties against the other big six. But for me, yeah, if we can get to that point and we're still within a couple of points of top, then we're favourites. And the fact that we're in that position even after our start to the season, I think is really good. I think it's really impressive. Homegrown fans, yeah, I don't know how you describe it. Homegrown, grassroots, whatever. The locals. But well, that also made a difference, right? Because of how good the PSG fans were, you immediately notice the difference, right? It makes the difference between your fans and their fans seem bigger because the PSG fans were unbelievable. Now, as Tom said, our away fans do the same thing. If you watch a Premier League away game for Arsenal, the away fans are unbelievable. But as much as you can, you want to create that sort of atmosphere that our away fans take in your own stadium. It helps, it helps the team to have that atmosphere. So, that's my opinion. I dislike whenever Villa win, this stupid Emery Arteta thing comes up. Yeah, it's literally, Villa get a good win. Emery's better than Arteta. Emery's better than Arteta. No, look at him. Look, they beat Bayern and Arsenal didn't beat Bayern, so Emery's better than Arteta. It is annoying. Nwaneri and Lewis Skelly should start. Yeah, possibly. Well, look. So this is the thing. We'll move on. We'll move on from the atmosphere. I just wanted to kind of address it because people were talking about it in the comments. But Timber and White, neither of them were spotted in training today. Arteta, of course, will have his press conference tomorrow, where I'm sure he'll give us an update on one, if not both of them. We still really don't know what is wrong with Ben White. You know, we know he had a bit of a knock. He had a bit of an issue. He played through it against Man City. And I think I'm right in saying we've not seen him since Man City. So, and we've not really had any sort of an update on what the injury was or how long we could expect him to be out for. I think most times that Arteta has mentioned him, he's kind of just spoken about him being in contention. So hopefully that means that he's not far away. But yeah, so he's not been in training. Timber's not been in training. Tomiyasu's like, suddenly we've not got pictures of Tomiyasu. Now, it may well be that we're trying to make sure he doesn't go on international duty with Japan, which would be ridiculous if he did. So hopefully Tomiyasu is maybe available because, yeah, without Timber and White, I mean, who do you play at right back? You could try Calafiori there again. You could go back to having basically the second half against PSG, Calafiori at right back, Kivior at left back. A wild one would be the Thomas Partey right back experiment again, which I do not want to see. Other than that, not too sure. Maybe Miles Lewis-Skelly at right back. So, I mean, personally, I'd rather see... By the way, if we were playing one of the midfielders at right back, I'd rather Declan Rice was at right back and Partey was in midfield, personally. Who cares about the Emery Arteta debate? They're both doing great things at the moment. Well, that's the thing. I think that's the biggest part of that debate. Is that it actually takes away from what Emery's doing by constantly comparing him to Mikel Arteta. Why not, as a better example, compare him to Erik Ten Hag? Like, he arrived at Villa 3 months after Ten Hag arrived at United. So they've been at their clubs for a really similar amount of time. Villa's squad was in a worse position than United's. He spent less money than United. He spent less money than Ten Hag. And he's doing far, far better. So I don't know why we don't compare him to that. Why don't we compare him to the managers that have been at Chelsea in that time or at Spurs in that time that he's outlived? Yeah, I find it just relentlessly boring to keep comparing him to Arteta when we already know everyone's opinion. Like, everyone has already given their opinion on Arteta and Emery. Aston Villa beating Bayern Munich, I don't think is going to change anyone's opinion from the last time that this debate came up. It's mainly mainstream media who are looking for interactions on Twitter, and they know this debate has got the clicks in the past. Yeah, it's true. It's true. And then we all, yeah, it works every time. It does work every time. Credit to them. They know what they're doing. Personally, I'd rather have Kivior right back than Cala to keep the left side fluid. Yeah, possibly. That's probably fair. What about, here's an interesting one. Saliba at right back with Kivior at centre-back with Gabriel. Would that be sensible or not? Because I've always thought we'd never do it, right? Because Saliba at right centre-back is like humongous for us, right? And it's such a big thing. But I've always thought if we found another Saliba, so you could play Saliba at right centre-back. If you found another one, Saliba at right back would also be unbelievable. Maldini at right back. Yeah, well, I don't think we've seen enough of him, to be fair. I'd rather Miles Lewis-Skelly was there. For me, I think I would be tempted to go Miles Lewis-Skelly, to be honest. Saliba could be good there, but also more prone to getting injured. Yeah, true. No, the party left back PTSD. Why did you remind me? I know. Ferencváros were so frustrating that first half. Oh, they're against Spurs, aren't they? I didn't even realise that was an early kickoff. What's the score? 1-0 to Tottenham. Pat Matassar with the goal. There you go. 1-0. To be fair, Spurs have gone with a pretty young... Well, yeah, they've gone with quite a young team. They got Archie Gray at centre-back with Romero. Mikey Moore and Will Lancashire both playing. Fair play. Do you think Marino will start against Southampton? Possibly. Josh Nichols? Yeah, we could go Josh. Yeah, that's a good point. We could go Josh Nichols. If he's going to start any game this season at home against Southampton, would probably be the best opportunity. Based on what Arteta said in pre-season, I think he wouldn't do that. He's going to keep the disruptions to a minimum. Yeah, that's true, actually. That's a good point. That is a good point. Arteta explained. Was it when he was explaining why Timber was at left back and Ben White was at right back? And his answer was that by doing that, you're only changing one position. So yeah, if instead of changing two people out of their position, change one. I'd like to see Josh Nichols. Yeah, I don't think it would be bad. Don't ever mention that lot here. Sorry, just keeping an eye on it in case they drop points to Ferencváros because it'd be funny. I'm looking forward to United against Porto tonight. I can't lie. I've got a feeling Porto are going to absolutely cook them. Never a better time for Miles Lewis-Skelly and Nwaneri to start. I agree. Well, look. The ideal, to be honest, is that one of Timber and White is there. As much as Southampton at home is one of the easier games, and you'd say, like, it's not the end of the world. It's also another Premier League game. It's also another game that you need to get 3 points in. And, 3 points before the international break is big. So it would be nicer if they could play, if possible. But watching Quinton Timber in the Champions League yesterday, get him in. It's also cool to have two twin brothers in the same team. Yeah, I think Timber's brother, Quinton, was in the Champions League Team of the Week. So I didn't actually focus on him too much. But Vieira brace. Yeah, apparently Vieira could play. He played in... he came on as a sub in Porto's last game. So he's not fully injured, meaning that he could play. I'm on Jorel Hato watch right now. Wait, are Ajax playing now? Oh, they are. They're 1-0 up away at Slavia Prague. Yeah, a lovely bit of Jorel Hato watch. He's playing at left back. That's what I'm saying. Hato can be the left-sided Timber. 100%. 100%. Ramsdale holding 6 on his return. I hope Ramsdale gets a good reception, to be honest. I hope Ramsdale gets a good reception on Saturday. He should do. I think everyone loves Ramsdale still. Imagine the scenes when Fabio Vieira scores the goal that ends Ten Hag's era at United. I hope not. I don't want Ten Hag's era to end until we've played them. I want him to somehow hold on until we play them. And he's on a yellow, dual winner. Yeah, exactly. Thoughts on Gyökeres going 2 games without a goal? Wow, that's it. 2 games without a goal for Victor Gyökeres. The fall off is here. 220 odd folks here. Get the likes up. Yeah, there are over 200 of you here. So if you could like the stream, I would be incredibly grateful. But yeah, for me, Nwaneri is the one that, regardless of injuries, I would start. Nwaneri is the one that I think Leicester for me, that was enough. Leicester for me was enough to say that Nwaneri should start against Southampton because he's not. Outside of Preston away and, potential FA Cup run, if you can't play him against Southampton at home, he's not going to start any other Premier League game this season. So, for me, especially now, Thomas Partey could probably do with the rest. Marino, we can get integrated, give him a start. For me, the midfield going into the Southampton game would be Rice, Marino, Nwaneri. I would like to see that. You just know Ten Hag's last game will be against us. He will go ballistic in the presser. He'll still be blaming the Garnacho offside. He will. Has there been any update on Zichenko? It seems to be another one of his mysterious calf injuries that lasts a lot longer than expected. No, you're right. You're right. When was the last time? Was Zichenko played for us the game before the last international break? Right. That would have been the last time he played for us. So yeah, we've not seen Zichenko since the last international break. So that's nearly 4 weeks. Is it nearly 4 weeks? No, it's not nearly 4 weeks. 3 weeks, basically 3 weeks. But with a calf injury that no one knows how he got or when he got or what it was, which isn't great. Did you see the new Arsenal Aries collab? I need that Erdegaard jacket, but the price though. Yeah, do you wanna have a look at that? Do you wanna have a look at that? The where is it? Here we go. Our new collection. Wait, let me bring it up. This is our new collection, right? By the way, one thing that is very, very cool. one thing that is very cool is to see Clive here. That is quality. It looks nice. I mean, I'd look like an absolute tool wearing it, to be honest. The jumper I like. Yeah, that thing I would look ridiculous in. Outside of that, I quite like the jumpers. Think I probably look silly wearing that, to be honest. That's quite nice. But yeah, overall, Clive being there is so cool. Go on the boy. Go on the boy. We're releasing a new fashion range every week. Yeah, because they make so much money off it. Look how expensive it is. Wait, can I show how expensive it is? 350 quid. Oh wait, can you see that? Oh no, for some reason you can't see it. Oh no, it didn't change page. Wait, let me show this page instead. Hang on. Look at this. Look at these prices. They're making absolute. They're making absolute money. £350 for this jacket. £350. Taking the piss. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a nice jacket, but my God, it's what else is there? What's this jumper worth? £180 for a jumper. 100% merino wool. Yeah, 100% merino wool. Unless it's made out of Mikel Merino's hair, 180 quid is outrageous. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm more than happy for the club to get. Hey, if they can fool some people into going and buying these, and it means we can sign Mohamed Kudus in January, go for it. Go. The more of these, the more of those bomber jackets I see. Every single one of these that I see in the ground, I'm going to shake their hand and say thank you. That's in the Mohamed Kudus kitty. Thank you very much. Seriously, these people are funding us. Whoever's buying this, you know, credit to them. Credit to them. But that is expensive. Do you know what I mean? That is expensive. Look at the Tottenham pitch right now. I can't really see it. It's not the Tottenham pitch, is it? Jova has been salivating at the thought of 193 centimetre Benjamin Sesko with the jump height of a kangaroo. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Sesko, add Sesko to the lineup of players that we have attacking a corner. Unbelievable. Just ordered 17 of them. Sensational. Sensational. Just paid 90 on the away kit from last season. Authentic version with Saliba on the back. Now that is a good deal. That's decent. That is decent. Doesn't have to be Locatelli, Kivior, and Cash, and we can make my Vlahovic dream come true. Yeah, Vlahovic for me is still a no-go. He scored a wonderful goal last night, don't get me wrong. Vlahovic's goal last night for Juventus, very, very nice. But he's still just not for me. He's not ahead of Sesko. He's not, who also scored a very nice goal in the same game. He's not ahead of Gyökeres. He's not ahead of Isak. Would you take Duran? I would take Duran. However, I think he's going to get exceptionally expensive very quickly. I mean, how ridiculous do West Ham feel? West Ham all but had John Duran this summer. I mean, they had him doing this. They had him doing this on social media. And they went and got Füllkrug. Now, don't get me wrong, Füllkrug's an all right player. I don't think he suits the Premier League particularly. But for them to go and get Füllkrug when they could have got John Duran, that is an absolute howler. Absolute howler. Bremer did his ACL, so Juve could come back in for Kivior in January. Yeah, that is exactly what I thought when I saw this morning that Bremer had done his ACL. The first thing I thought was that they could do with a Jakub Kivior in January. And like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if he does go. Can we finally play Zichenko in attacking midfield? That would rely on Zichenko being fit and available. So probably not, no. Why didn't he go to West Ham? I don't actually know the ins and outs of that deal and why it fell through. There was quite a lot of interest in it. At one point, Chelsea were interested in him. But yeah, why the West Ham one fell through, I'm not actually too sure. But I mean, West Ham will be not West Ham. Villa will be buzzing. Like, Villa were happy to let him go, and they kind of almost accidentally ended up keeping him, and then they've used him as a sub a few times, and now it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. What happened to the people that said Füllkrug's better than Havertz? Yeah, you won't hear from them again. You will not hear from them again. West Ham were 5 mil short of his value. They didn't want to pay that money for him. I bet West Ham are fuming, or West Ham fans are fuming. Yeah. For the sake of 5 million quid, I mean, the interesting thing is, I don't think him and Watkins can both play together. And I don't think it'll get to a point where they'll start him over Watkins. And so it's like, but clearly he can't keep putting in these substitute performances and not either get a start or want to move. So it's interesting. Let Zichenko go back to Shakhtar after we play them. I think we'll sell Zichenko. I do think we'll sell Zichenko soon. Surely Nwaneri will start. Southampton are the worst in the league. Yeah, I think he should. I think he should start. Because, I mean, look, if the team news comes out on Saturday and Trossard's starting again, I'm not going to complain. Because Trossard's done a very good job. And, you know, that's still good enough to win the game. I just think, I look at this as an opportunity for Nwaneri to start. Maybe he comes off the bench again. Would you start Sterling Saturday? No, I'd start Martinelli again. The reason being, I think Martinelli's beginning to regain his confidence, and Southampton is another game for that to continue. Like, Martinelli isn't suddenly back to the Martinelli of old. He still needs that momentum to keep going. So I mean, I do want to see more of Sterling. It has to be said, but I don't know. Did you see all the media comparing Arteta to Emery? A new day, a new comparison. Yeah. Like we said, I mean, I don't want to get into the debate. I think it's very simple, right? As Arsenal fans, we've seen Emery at Arsenal. We've seen Arteta at Arsenal. 99% of us are happier with Arteta at Arsenal than Emery at Arsenal. You know, people say Emery's a better tactician. I disagree. I watched Lucas Torreira playing at 10, right? So I disagree that Emery's a better tactician for Arsenal. He certainly wasn't better in the transfer market. You know, I don't know how much freedom he was given, but we do know he was willing to lose Bukayo Saka to get Wilfried Zaha. So for me, I prefer Arteta. I'm happy with Arteta. Most Villa fans probably prefer Emery, and they're happy with Emery. We're all happy. The debate doesn't need to be had because we're all happy with the manager that we've got. People say, yeah, I do think the debate is flawed when people say, "Oh, but look at how many trophies Unai Emery's won." Well, it's like, yeah, but look how old he is. Look how long he's been managing for. I would anticipate that by the time Arteta is Unai Emery's age and has been managing for as long as Unai Emery, Arteta will have more trophies and better trophies. Like, that's just not a sensible comparison. That's like saying, you know, I don't know, Rob Huth had more Premier League titles than William Saliba. Therefore, he's a better centre-back. It's like, we'll give Saliba an entire career. He'll probably eclipse it. We're all better off. It's a win-win. Exactly. I think we're all pretty happy with it. So, did you hear Gyökeres saying about the next window? I didn't hear that. What exactly did he say, Godson? I've not heard that. Why do you think Henry is constantly talking about why we should have kept Emery? It's like he's jealous of Arteta as a manager because Henry's managerial career hasn't gone well so far. It's exactly what I said the other night. I think I said it on here the other night, or I said it on Twitch. If I personally don't take the opinions of young ex-footballers, and when I say young, I'm talking like recent generation, the sort of generation that played at a similar time to Arteta or just before. Realistically, if they have gone from player to trying to be a manager to ending up being a pundit, I think they don't like Mikel Arteta. Or not that they don't like him. That's wrong. They're a bit jealous of it. That's what I think. I think we see it with Neville. I think we see it with Roy Keane. I think we see it with, I mean, Jamie Carragher, as far as I'm aware, has never actually tried to be a manager, to be fair, but we see it a lot, and so much of it doesn't make sense. And Henry, I think, is one of those. The Japan Football Association, if they see Tommy training, will recall someone in order to put him in the squad, which is stupid because he's not fully fit and can be injured. Yeah, I can't imagine Tomiyasu's going to go and play for Japan this international break. It would be mental if he did. The way Neville talks, you'd almost forget his Valencia team was clapped in La Liga. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I wish club legends just shut up. Both Arsenal and United legends have been looking so stupid for the last 5 years. Just be quiet and let us remember you as players. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But the thing is, this idea that if we'd given Unai Emery more time, it would have all suddenly worked out. Like, what was there to suggest? It's not even like Pochettino last season, where towards the end of last season with Chelsea, their results were picking up, and you could maybe see that he was like, we were going backwards under Emery from even from a point that Emery himself had gotten us to. We were going backwards, and that's the one thing that we've never had with Arteta is losing momentum or going backwards. With Arteta, it's constant progression, year on year on year. It's progression. So there's just I don't understand what people thought would have changed with Emery in the following year or following 2 years, given that the direction of travel at the time was backwards. I love that Saka is so good friends with Henry. I just know Saka is so kind with his kids. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Joining very late. We're going to catch up. No worries, Philip. Do people forget these performances under Unai? We were abysmal a lot of times. That Watford game genuinely was a sackable offence. Like, as a manager of Arsenal Football Club, that result against Watford, not the result even, the performance against Watford was a sackable offence. And I'm sorry, but I just don't understand how that was ever tenable. So we'll never know. And this is the other thing, by the way. We will never know. We will never know what Unai Emery might or might not have achieved if Arsenal had kept him. What I do know is what Mikel Arteta has achieved is almost as good as you could really ever have imagined. Do I think Unai Emery would have won a league title against Pep Guardiola within 4 years of when we sacked him? No. No, I don't. Arteta has built an incredibly consistent and powerful team, and we haven't won a Prem because we're fighting an uphill battle here. He's really an underappreciated manager. Yeah, I think I think Arteta is criminally underrated, even now. And look, I get it. We need to win things for that to change. And I think as soon as we do win things, people will have to look at it differently. Like, as soon as we win something, and when I say something, I mean either a Prem or a Champions League, people will have to look at it and go, okay, well, this guy, in his first ever managerial job, took a team that was in the bottom half of the table and within a few years changed the entire club, built his own squad, and beat the best manager in Pep Guardiola on earth. And I think at that point, you've just got to say, well, that's unbelievable. Who's your manager of the month? Who is my manager of the month? Are there any good shouts other than Arteta? Because my gut would say Arteta straight away, but Maresca, to be honest, maybe. Maybe. In terms of who I think will win it. Bottom half team revisionism is insane. I mean, we were a bottom half team. We were a bottom half team. That's not revisionism to say it. Company? Not in the Premier League. Not in the Premier League. I think the biggest thing for why it didn't work out is that his English was so bad. I know it's better and he's doing better with Villa. There is an element of that, yeah. There is an element of that. Like, I do genuinely think when your English isn't as good, and especially when people started mocking the way that he spoke, it is hard to kind of instill confidence in yourself. Like, it's hard to get people to have confidence in you if you can't necessarily speak proficiently in the language. I do genuinely think that was part of it. And the way that he was mocked, I don't think helped give him kind of authority. I do think that was part of it, yeah. I think Arteta's biggest strength is that he masters a lot of different play styles. He does. He does. No, look, I'm very happy with Arteta at the end of the day. And I think that's all we need. That's all we need. Bottom half team, lol. Lowest finish was 8th. Yeah, lowest finish was 8th. Where were we when Arteta took over? Not in 8th. So you got to remember, Arteta took over halfway through a season. Emery kept changing formations constantly. It's like the players seemed confused in different games. Yeah, I don't think Emery knew what he wanted to do at Arsenal. God's honest truth, I think since he joined Villa, he kind of knew what he wanted to do. By that point, by the way, as well, he'd had the experience at Arsenal to understand the Premier League a little bit more. But for me, at Arsenal, he just didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know what he wanted to do. We didn't know how we wanted to play. And it was evident on the pitch. Rory, did you see Rudiger saying signing Saliba would be great for Madrid? Not liking this at all. We need to prop up Kuti, the Argentinian gladiator. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about Saliba going to Real Madrid. Real Madrid are focused on getting Trent Alexander-Arnold next. They've been speaking to Trent Alexander-Arnold, so I'm not worried. I'm not worried. And yeah, I think we can turn them down and then they can pivot for Romero, and Romero will go. And that will be funny. Very funny indeed. Did you see the PSG fans? They just kept going. We need to learn to support like that. We were just sat back. Yeah, we spoke about that earlier in the stream, and I do agree. I do agree. Anyway, look, it is time for Guess the Goal Scorer. I'm going to give you all of the information about an Arsenal goal, and you have to give me the goal scorer and the team that it was scored against. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. So get your fingers on your keyboards because we're starting now. This goal was scored with the left foot. This goal was scored with the left foot. It was assisted by Martinelli. It was scored in the 22nd minute. It was scored at the Etihad. The score was a 2-2 draw. And it happened in September 2024. Left-footed goal assisted by Gabriel Martinelli in the 22nd minute at the Etihad in a 2-2 draw last month. It was not Martin. It was not Martin. It was not Trossard. It was not Ødegaard versus Brentford. It wasn't Ødegaard versus Chelsea. It was indeed Calafiori versus Manchester City. Oscar was the first person to get it right. Congratulations. Nid was second. Ethan Udall was third. Harsh was fourth. And Oslo Gunnar was fifth. There we go. That was an easy one. That was an easy one today. That's so easy, Brev. Yeah. Can I be completely honest? We were literally 90 seconds away from the... we were 90 seconds away from the start of the show, and I hadn't got it written down. So I had to do one off the dome, and that was the one that we went for. So it was an easy one. It was a recent one. And congratulations for Oscar, to Oscar, for getting it correct first. I have to say, this format maybe shouldn't have been decided on in 2 minutes. Maybe. If people have got better ideas, then let me know. If people have got better ideas. Oh, actually, no. One thing I wanted to talk about, by the way, is the Champions League and the format of it. Because, you know, you look at the Champions League. Wait, let's go and look at the Champions League table now, by the way. I don't need that. I don't need that. I'll end up buying it like a fucking idiot. I won't. I don't think I could. Don't think the bank account's got the facilities to complete that one. But yeah, look at the Champions League now. Where is the Champions League? Look at this table. So you've got, like, obviously we're only 2 games in, right? We are only 2 games in. You got Brest up here, Benfica, Aston Villa up in 6th. But this section here now, Arsenal, Bayern, Barca, Madrid, PSG, Atletico. I mean, you've got bloody Milan are all the way down in 32nd. But I do think it is going to start getting exciting. And I think we saw last night, last night, the format of the Champions League did not matter. It was just a good night of good games, good stories, good goals. And that's kind of what it's all about. And people talk about how they preferred the old format. Man, can you really remember game week 2 of the group stages of the Champions League from any year ever? Because I can't. It's just the group stage. But I think as we get towards the later stages of this league, it's going to get exciting. It is going to get exciting. I mean, as it stands, look at the teams that aren't in the top 8. Inter, Arsenal, Bayern, Barca, Real Madrid, PSG, Atletico, all not in the top 8 as it stands. I think that's exciting. The United team news. Do you want to see the United team news? Here you go. Fabio Vieira does not start for Porto. So it's Costa, Mario, Pedro, Perez, Mora, Gonzalez, Estaquiao, or Eustaquiao, no idea. Varela, Pepe, Omarodi, and Galeno. Onana, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Martinez, Dalot, Eriksen, Casemiro, Ahmad, Bruno, Rashford, Højlund. Wow, interesting. So, Mainu dropped. Ugarte dropped. In fact, Mainu's not even on the bench. He must be injured or something. Interesting. But there we go. Brest going to get a lot of eyeballs. I've always been a Brest fan myself. Classic. That's absolutely sensational. Vieira with the game-winning goal off the bench, hopefully. We'll only know where you're going to finish around January. Yeah, probably. But I do think it'll get exciting. It will get exciting. Anyway, it is now time for Guess the Non-Gooner. I'm going to give you the entire career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal. And you have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community, but not as much respect as Oscar currently has. Now, by the way, I think this is a bit of a hard one. So if you were complaining that Calafiori against City was too easy, get stuck into this. This player started their career at River Plate. They moved to Parma. They moved to Lazio. They moved to Inter Milan. They moved to Chelsea. They went on loan to AC Milan. They went on loan to Inter Milan. They went to Inter. They went to Genoa. And they went to Parma. River Plate, Parma, Lazio, Inter, Chelsea. Milan on loan, Inter permanently, Genoa, Parma. Who is the player? And the first person to get it correct was VV Vlad. It was indeed Hernan Crespo. VV Vlad was first, back on top. James Salder was second. George was third. Oscar was fourth. And Ethan Udall was fifth. So there you go. It was Hernan Crespo. Very well done to VV Vlad. And of course, to Oscar. Look, that is going to be the end of the stream. Please do like, subscribe, all that good stuff if you've not done already. We'll be live tomorrow for the proper Southampton preview. Obviously, we'll have had Mikel Arteta's press conference at that point as well. We'll be live later on Twitch to continue Nwaneri to glory. Although tonight we are continuing with the Miles Lewis-Skelly upgrades. And other than that, I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic evening. And I will catch you all either later tonight or tomorrow. Goodbye.